Okay, I think we're here. We're having a little bit of a malfunction here, a little breakdown. Oh, there I go. Okay. All right, get you out of here. Uh, okay. I think yes. All my brain farts have concluded for the moment. All right. Krusty's in, and hey, Chrome, Oink's here, and Andrew, and Chucky, and Darkest Black, and Haroon, and our pal Steve, and Andrew thought that title was making Susan angry. Hey, is Louis? Omnitrix virus, yeah. Yeah, Lex. I don't know. I tell you guys, we haven't had a good old fashioned conversation about COVID-19 and the fallout surrounding it in a while, and I don't know. I think I'm having Christmas party food and Coke. Chrome says we talking like over the counter. Have a Coke and a smile, or I mean, I'm not judging either way, Chrome. It is the holidays after all. But I don't know. I think you would have to classify the most recent COVID-19 news as largely positive. We'll get into more as to why. We're going to talk about that, Louis. Louis says, serious question. How do you feel about... Oh, he took it away. No, that's a good question. How do I feel about masks and the Omicron variant? We're actually going to talk about that during the stream. Yeah, I thought the same thing, Josh. He said, hey, Curtis, also, is it just me or did the person that named the new variant a Transformers fan? I said, right when I heard the name, it's like, just sounds like somebody that Optimus Prime should be battling. I, what do you think Omicron transforms into? Like a little clown car or something? Cola, though Coke did used to have Coke. Yeah, I know many years ago. That's when people knew how to party, Chrome. we, we've pussified everything now. Um, and before we get into this conversation, I want to tell you guys too, a few of you that are here so far, I am really excited because I got the stuff ordered to try and rearrange the whole system here. Because the problem is the background behind me is too deep. It's too busy, and I haven't liked that for a long time. I think I found a way to turn things to where we'll have a nice paneled background with a shelf with the important things on it, like we'll have anime pops each given week, or however often I want to change them. We'll rotate them in and out with stuff pertinent to the channel, stuff that you guys will send me for a background. I'm going to put up some of that LED lighting tape, give it a nice soft hue behind me, and make everything look much better. I mean, there'll still be this, but everything behind this will look much better. It's gonna Brax is gonna help me work on it over the next couple days. I've subscribed to the channel. I'm new. I'm vaccinated. Had all three. I haven't had my third yet, Mark. Only because we were vaccinated last March, and then at the end of September, my wife and I both got COVID, and the doctor said basically, well, there's no rush for you to go get the booster just because you're freaking so overloaded with antibodies right now anyway from having COVID. So now that's been 3 months ago, and we got to get our butts up there and yeah, we'll get the booster. Again, we're older people, and I'm a big old fat guy, so it's a good idea to get it. Yeah, Tyler says, what do you mean we all know that background is a green screen? Saints versus Dolphins today? The thing is, Lindo, I got to pick the Saints because that's my boy Ian Book. And Ian Book was playing quarterback for Notre Dame, and you guys know I'm a Notre Dame fanatic. Right when we were in, what arc is that? of Hunter x Hunter. But where they were saying that constantly, where you had to call for the book, and of course in Japanese with the English it was always a buka, so he became buka, and so I gotta watch my boy Ian. Chrome says, well, Transformers the movie did have Unicron, a giant evil planet transformer, voiced by Orson Welles, who bossed around Leonard Nimoy. Megatron nerd. No, Josh. Brax is not per se. He played Halo and RuneScape. No, not a fan, or not a big player. And Lex thought she had COVID on Christmas. It was just a really bad cold. Yeah, it's fooling a lot of people, especially now, and that's what we'll get into talking about. I mean, what we're seeing early on here with the and the problem is, I should preface this, we're not going to get a lot of the most up-to-date and accurate information regarding anything to do with COVID, because everybody involved, including the media, has agendas. So you're going to get whatever spin fits everybody's particular agenda. If the agenda is to try and terrify people into getting the vaccines, that's the spin you're going to get. If you're getting information from those who are staunchly anti-vax and think that, it's putting tracking systems into your bloodstream, that's the spin you're going to get. The simple realities of it are everything over the last couple weeks would certainly be seen as a positive, particularly this development by the Army at Walter Reed Hospital. Not Bad says, hey Curtis, I just burned my damn hand at work. Thought you should know. Burns suck. I hate burns just because burn injuries last so goddamn long. That's what I hated more than anything else than injury. I don't want it to last. Give me a lot of pain quick and let it get over with. They're just, but burning your hands, that sucks. There's no way around it. Excuse me. There is no pandemic, folks. See, that's what I mean. You don't listen to wingnuts like that. There is no pandemic, folks. Of course, there's a pandemic, and we know where it came from. But But you at least hit your cue perfectly when I was talking about those with an agenda, and regardless of how idiotic something may be, they'll still try and spew that agenda at everyone. Nicholas says, hey Curtis, my little brother got the first 5 issues of the Demon Slayer manga for Christmas. Demon Slayer so good and sells so big. HD says, COVID seems to be self-aware now. Whenever we, humans, get away out of the pandemic, COVID becomes either more contagious or an immune escape. Yeah, but I'll tell you, HD, from what I'm reading, and again now, anything I talk about here is just stuff that I read written by people way freaking smarter than me. So I don't want to ever try and give the impression like I researched this stuff or I innately know this stuff. But that's not unusual for coronaviruses. What in layman's terms, which is what I need, what I've been able to read is a coronavirus is all about replication. So as they mutate, they're going to try and make it easier for to continue the virus, for it to spread from one person to another. The virus doesn't seem to concern itself as much with wanting to do damage as much as it does just wanting to perpetuate itself. And if that is indeed, and it's starting to look that way, what we're getting with Omicron, that could absolutely end up being a net positive. Even though it's going to be more contagious, if it's going to be significantly less damaging, there's going to be less hospitalization, much less death. And again, it's still early on, but that's what the early numbers are showing. That could well mean we're on the way, if not out of the COVID nightmare, getting it to a weakened, if endemic stage. But then you have the researchers at Walter Reed coming out last week and saying that they feel they're very close to, they've already developed a vaccine, but they're very close to being able to potentially bring a vaccine to market. And their vaccine, one shot, provides protection against contracting COVID-19 and will not be swayed. This vaccine will not be defeated by any variant. I'll give you guys anybody that wants to read it. Let me see. Here's a if just so you guys can have an idea. It's one of the many one of the many articles that were written on the topic. There's a link to it for any of you guys that want to see it. If that's the case, that's obviously a huge, huge game changer. Let's see. Nicholas says, "Hey Curtis, have you ever watched Cold Ones, Maximum Fall?" Yeah, I have. I've seen them. Yes, praise be the CCP who has never done anything wrong. What virus? You know how I feel about that, Lix. I think it's so ridiculous that the world is largely just letting China off the hook on this one. Just like, you know what? You buy a lot of product from us, and we like, your cheap slave labor because it keeps our costs down. So you want to throw a global pandemic at us every once in a while. It's cool. Just don't do it a lot. That's the attitude. Check last post. Wolverine says that Brax without a fork is what Brax without a fork. I'm not sure what you mean on the last post. I'm enjoying my time. Oh, Wolverine says in the UK visiting family. Saw a member of the channel on Thursday. Oh, that's very cool. Very cool. I would so like to do a little international travel. Josh says, "Oof, those are hefty claims indeed." I'll read it after the stream. And what I've been able to read in follow up, Josh, I read some scientists and epidemiologists who have reviewed what the Army's been doing, and they were very positive about it. They said, "Yes, it sounds good." What again? I'm happy to, perfectly willing to admit that when they get into the deep science of it, it goes above my head. But again, what they're saying is whatever the Army has done here, whatever path it is they're taking, seems to be convincing a lot of people that they may have pulled this off. Now, they've done some human testing, if I remember what I read in the article correctly, but they have to do more. And if that testing goes well, it'll be out to the public. And if this were the case, if it actually does stop COVID and any of these SARS viruses, it should, it's the beginning of the end. Then you shouldn't even have the big vax versus anti-vax debate anymore. If unvaccinated people can no longer transmit it to vaccinated people, everybody go do their own thing. The only issue you'll have there is if the unvaccinated are still clogging up the medical resources. But outside of that, HD says the only thing China does right is their food. Chinese food is goddamn delicious. Rosa says, "No offense, but I see some big bug thing behind you. Try hitting it so it goes away." Is it over right about here? Chrome says, "All these restrictions have basically destroyed businesses here." I can imagine, for those of you who don't know, Chrome is in Scotland. "I had to work Boxing Day and we were dead. Like basically nothing for 4 hours. Wow. Glasgow and Edinburgh are basically quiet the full month." I can't even imagine, because again, if any of you don't know, in Chrome and our other folks from the UK have just kept me updated on it. The shutdowns, the methods they were employing to try and stop the spread of the virus over there have been really, really harsh. And as Chrome says, there's no two ways about it. That's going to devastate an economy if you keep those type of lockdowns in place for long periods of time. Big Green says, "What's a coronavirus? Never heard of that." You making that up? It's a smear campaign. Yeah, Lude. I don't know. I have no idea. Looks like I think Spice Kid's just watching videos. Mechanical Goober says, Yo, Curtis, love the videos. Thank you. I have COVID right now, but I'm vaccinated, so it just feels like a sore throat. I've been binging your videos. Keep the trying not to laugh vids. They're so good. Well, thanks. I appreciate that, pal. And that's what they're saying, too. They're finding with Omicron, again, it's still considered early results, although it's become the dominant strain here in America and big hunks of the world already. But what they're finding is symptomatically it seems to be significantly weaker than its predecessors. I know early on in South Africa, where they first sequenced it and discovered the Omicron variant, the researcher over there, that I don't remember her name, is a woman researcher, was saying that for the most part what they'd seen with Omicron was a day or two of pretty severe fatigue and a dry cough and or sore throat. And if that can be the symptoms for the majority of people who get it, let's go. Beats the symptoms beats the symptoms of what we've seen so far from the original and from Delta. Chrome says, China basically owns a lot of these companies, absolutely, and politicians through investing. Even if no one's brave enough to stand up to them, they're still set for collapse if nothing changes. That I believe is true. Yeah, Chrome, you're right. Well, look at it over here. I mean, again, people bring it up all the time, but it's true. Like in the NBA, you have a lot of people who are very much about social justices, which is good, but they draw the line at China. When China is committing, a couple acts of atrocity against whatever individual group it may be, whether it's in Hong Kong or wherever, it's just like, well, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about things at home instead, because we really want to keep selling our sneakers in China and everything. So, yeah. Nova Wolf says, here in France, they're thinking of a new lockdown due to Omicron. We just got out of one too, so it's very frustrating. I mean, for me, I think that's jumping the gun. I know what they're saying. The concern is that it's still going to overwhelm the hospitals. Well, the other angle to that is, if we look at statistics, if we look at the numbers, just here in the States even, there's not a lot of statistical support that lockdowns have had a significant effect against COVID at all. There's some degree of statistical value to saying that masks may be cutting it down, but I personally believe that's probably more social distancing than masking. But to go from the social distancing and masking to a lockdown, I've yet to see any real numbers that show that that's effective. So given that, and given that Omicron is so insanely easily transmissible, I don't think you're going to make a difference in it, and you're just going to bang the shit out of your economy some more. It just seems like Omicron is going to do what it wants to do. There's some, I'm stating just what we've heard from some people in the medical field. Some people are saying they don't even think that the typical masks that everybody is wearing is going to work against Omicron to any degree anyway, because, again, it's so transmissible. Whether or not that's true, Willie says, sorry, I'm late, good chums. I got a notification, but I was having a rather enjoyable walk session. Oh, good for you, Willie. I've been trying to get out there, do some walking, Bob gets beat up regularly. I do work out on Bob a lot, but I got to do something, because I just got to stop carrying the amount of weight around I'm carrying. Chrome says, like I was told by a manager, we pulled in less than half the money we did on Boxing Day this year. Yikes. Than we did in 2019, and our store was still higher than others. Yeah, that's scary. Like you say, Chrome, you're getting a lot of businesses, and it happened here in America too. I don't think to the degree, because you guys were in lockdown much longer than we were. But yeah, you're reaching a point of no return for a lot of businesses. You're just allowing them to be defeated by the whole thing. A wank session. I thought you actually went walking, pal. That's good. I will grant you that. Now I'm wank session is important. You shouldn't allow anything, not even us, to interrupt that. Absolutely. Walk session, it's like, okay, you can get your exercise later. But wank session, when it's got to be done, it's got to be done. Yes, Chrome says we were in lockdown Boxing Day last year, so the figures had to be based on 2019. Uh, Big Green says we talked about it sounding like a Transformers character. I had to correct my mother about Omicron. She called it Unicron, and I said, "Mom, I'm pretty sure Unicron is a Transformers character." Yeah. Atzel Chops says all universities in my state banned unvaccinated students. I'm young and not fond of the one size fits all vaccine. Do you think universities will change their policies after? Probably depends a lot, Atzel, on where the universities are. Brax goes to a state university here in New York. They to be on campus, you had to be vaccinated this whole past semester. You can still attend. Fuck off, Jane. You can still attend classes, but they have to be virtual if you weren't vaccinated. We're in New York, and we have a governor that really, really does anything at all she can to get her name out there in media and in social media and stuff. So she's a wild card. I mean, she started making preparations for Omicron before anybody, and to this point, still not anybody knows how serious it's going to be. But she likes to get her name out there. So there's a good chance that they will take actions. Brax is waiting. They said, because he's an RA, so he has to go back from vacation early. He's scheduled to go back on the 9th, but they said by the 3rd they'll let them know for sure if they are coming back or not. So whether you're able to get back on campus with a vaccine will have to do with what we see from the Omicron variant. If anything really materializes with this Walter Reed vaccine and the locality you live in. It's impossible for me to make a blanket prediction because everybody's so different. If you're in Florida, yeah, good chance you'll get back. Well, if you're in Florida, they probably didn't pass that law to begin with. But it all depends on where you are. If this Walter Reed vaccine is as great as we think it might be, it's certainly a complete game changer, that's for sure. Barry says, nothing funny to see here. Wait, actually, penis. And Wolverine asked to check the next post. And he says, I'm joining AA in the new year. I caved and drank during the holidays. If I join AA, I can at least have a physical token of my sobriety. Very cool. Good idea. Very good idea to get out there and amongst those who can really help you. Chrome says, on the bright side, I can go to town and Edinburgh without an issue. It's quiet, so I can enjoy a peaceful day out. Really considering trying Gordon Ramsay's new place in Edinburgh tomorrow because of it. Oh, that's cool. Well, good. At least you're able to get out and about again. I mean, you guys were hit. So, again, for anybody just coming in, Chrome's in Scotland, you guys were hit so hard for so long with the shutdown. I just can't even imagine. And again, I've been looking for statistical indications that the shutdowns have made a significant difference, but I just haven't seen it. And now if somebody's got something for me that proves otherwise, I'm glad to look at it. Link it. I would love to see it, but I don't see a statistical advantage to it. Nolan quoting Bob gets beat up on regularly. Me, who named his PP Bob. Yes, he does. Oh, Willie says, in my school, you had to be vaccinated or you got kicked out, period. Really? Now, here they, Braxton School, they had the option to take online classes. So at least they could continue their education. Darkest Black says, Curtis, that's pretty good. I got a trans flag from my aunt, so I wore it as a cape, calling myself an X-Man. Well played. Jake says, the only way, in my opinion, lockdowns will be effective is if and only if every single person quarantines themselves for 2 weeks, and that's not practical. Right. Exactly, Jake. And that, I read read stuff from epidemiologists early on. I mean, in the very early stages in early 2020, when we were first learning about this virus, and a lot of the epidemiologists said that the only thing with lockdowns is you can't actually have entire lockdowns. I mean, you still have to have public safety people out there. You still have stores have to be open. People have to be able to eat. There's so many services that have to go on. And they said because of the nature of coronaviruses, anything short of being able to just make everybody stop having interactions with everybody else is not going to stop it. And they were spot on. They were 100% right. Chrome says our government is run by power-hungry idiots. Seems like most governments in the world, Chrome. It's not about if it works. They're desperate for more control and power. Shown childlike glee in interviews, like the guy who had people arrested. Yeah, I agree. It's unfortunate but true. And in the case of our governor here in New York, Kathy Hochul, I think a lot of this is just opportunity for her, because she's governor because Cuomo was a fuck up. It's not like she won an election. So she's trying to get her name out there as some sort of avenger on behalf of the fight against COVID, to the point where it doesn't have to be anything based in science, doesn't have to be a policy based in any type of statistics. It just has to be something that will make people write her name down in media, in social media, wherever it may be. Brian says, just got in. Weather's going to be bad here in Poconos. Had to go out and get essentials like food and stuff. I think I did all right and made the right call. Damn, this Whopper is good. I just had a Whopper just a few days ago. I can always use a Whopper. Well, love to have a Whopper, but I don't. Raging Krogan says, they posted a notice in my condominium from my city that you need to wear a mask in lobbies, elevators, and halls. I ignore that. They can't and don't do anything except a few people telling me to wear my mask. Yeah, we have a mask mandate here in New York because, again, Hochul likes to get her name out there. I abide by it. It hasn't crossed a line for me. Do I think it's particularly effective? No, not really, especially against what I'm reading against Omicron. I think it has a negligible effect, if any. I'll play the silly game to a certain degree. But do I get upset when I see people that aren't wearing a mask? Not really. I mean, and for me, I'm back. You guys know I got the double vax, and I just haven't boosted yet because I got COVID. So I'm loaded with antibodies right now. But now that it's been a few months since we recovered from COVID, we're gonna go get our booster. But am I concerned? And it's gotten to be a thing too, where it's almost looking like outside of this Walter Reed, the potential of this Walter Reed vaccine being a game changer. Outside of that, it's really starting to look like COVID's going to be endemic, so we're going to be dealing with it. So I'll take precautions, but I'm not going to change my life over being afraid of it. Oink says, found out over Christmas that my sister is not only an anti-vaxxer, but also a vegan. So I have perhaps unsurprisingly been talking shit about her to everyone I know, which now includes you guys. See, I like to poke fun at the vegans because I am as far diametrically opposed from a vegan as you can be, as you guys know. Red meat is my life and will be the cause of my death as well. But I don't care if somebody else wants to be vegan. It's more meat for me. I just can't stand the obnoxious vegans who think that their lifestyle should be forced on everybody else. You can't eat meat. Well, it's unhealthy. Shut the fuck up. You don't worry about my health. You just go eat your carrot and sit in the fucking corner. Smokey Loki says, I'm highly anticipating the Goose Goose variant. I expect the number of related Gooshins to be in the millions. We can only hope. Collector says vegans are spooky. That's what I like, that word to describe it. No one says people who think you need a vax and mask and other restrictions clearly don't have faith in any of them. They work wise. The story is always we need more restrictions. Well, see, that's what I'm getting to with, again, especially with lockdowns. I and I mean this sincerely when I say I would love to see the statistics. I would love to see the numbers that show that lockdowns have had a significant effect on the spread of this virus, because I have yet to see that. And I'm a big stat guy. I love statistics. I'm a stat freak. Haven't seen it. I don't see it anywhere. Now again, maybe I'm missing something, but exactly. Erwin L says, "Who can say no to a nice juicy steak? Not me. That's for sure." And again, will all the red meat I consume be a contributing factor in my eventual death? Probably. Was it worth it? Yes. Excuse me. Jesus. Darkest Waxes. My my vegan cousin came over and thought she was better than everyone, so I grabbed a piece of steak, smacked her with it. Well, I cannot officially endorse meat-based violence. Although it seemed to work in Napoleon Dynamite. Excuse me, guys. Oh, hold on. My granddaughter needs a login for one of our streaming services. Let me just tap this out to her real quick. I'll be right back to the chat. Okay. Boom. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Chrome says, "Oh, by the way, unrelated, but just letting you know, you should definitely see the Tanya film. Even though you can't do a reaction, it's great, and it is the next part of the story. I'd like to. I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna fit that in, because I really would like to. I really enjoyed Tanya a lot. That, well, kind of figured we would, because you guys had shown me so many clips of it and everything. I thought it was going to be good, and it was. Raging Krogan says, especially those who tell us we can't eat meat because we're killing animals. Kill more of them. I like meat and we'll keep eating meat. Humans are omnivores. Correct. We eat both meats. Right. I make no apologies for that. I like meat. And if animals didn't want to be eaten, they should have gotten to the top of the food chain. Humans progressed more quickly and more efficiently, and we have the use of things like gunpowder, and that dropped you guys down on the old food scale. Willie says the absolute polar extremes: vegan teacher versus Jeffrey Dahmer. that would Jeffrey even enjoy eating someone if they had been vegan? Doesn't seem like the taste would quite be there. I mean, I haven't tried it myself, but I'm just spitballing. Brian says a lot of vegans don't understand that the majority of these animals are killed and disease will spread like wildfire. They choose not to be informed as population control. And really, again, for me, I just don't pay much attention to them. Again, if they want to be vegan, that's fine. I don't have an issue with it. Eat whatever you want. Don't eat whatever you don't want. But when you have your little fits about everybody else eating the things that they seem fit to eat, then it's just be gone, pussies. No one says if animals weren't meant to be eaten, then why are they made out of food? Checkmate. Chrome says, so did you see someone started a change.org petition to get Susan fired? Won't do anything, but it's pretty funny. It's around 250,000 already. Yes, I did. That's over the What was trending this morning? I mean, it's based on the same issues that we all know goes on here at YouTube. But that the YouTuber Mama something was talking about YouTube, which side are you on, or something like it was along those lines. Basically, the thought that YouTube is protecting channels that have pedophilic content or pedophilic leanings and going after channels that call that type of behavior out. And it's just more faults in the YouTube system, in the ecosystem here. Raging Krogan says, Curtis, when you ask in each video if I like anime, I always say, no, I don't. I like you for your content and charming personality, but not anime. Well, thanks. I appreciate that, pal. Well, most of the anime is over at the Goosh now at the Patreon. I mean, I'll never be able to get entirely away from the anime influence because it's what I do. As you guys can see, anime has, because of you guys, has become my thing. Jake says, my dad always made our steaks well done as a kid. Yeah, I told you guys that. My parents always liked it well done too. I do not. So I would always use A1 sauce. Ever since I started making my own medium well, I realized sauce is not needed. It was a game changer. Couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more. Oh, which side are you on? That's what it was, Philip. YouTube, which side are you on? Yes. Yes. I saw that. That's what got that change.org position started. Oink says, my sister is thankfully not one of the annoying vegans, but that could that could still change. Chrome says, well, we found out years ago that there's multiple large pedo rings on YouTube that have been running for years. YouTube did nothing and still does nothing. And he's not wrong. I mean, we've talked about that in the past. The whole system here is broken because the initial, hell, there's always a chance that I'm going to be fighting YouTube for putting up this live stream. It's happened to me in the past. We had live streams where we talked about COVID. You guys know everything that is said here has been all fact-based. We don't delve into conspiracy theories. We don't delve into anything outside of what statistics and scientists back up. And yet, even then, I had to file a counterclaim when they hit me with the community guidelines for misinformation. And I asked them, well, please show me, please, by all means, show me where there was an iota of misinformation within our content. And they didn't. They just wrote back after my counterclaim and said, good news, your video has been reinstated to YouTube. They never take the actual responsibility of at least trying to explain what they thought was an issue to begin with, because there was nothing. It's just their system fucking up again. Callum says, anyone else curious how Hitler would handle COVID? Callum, actually, I think we probably got a pretty good idea, and it wouldn't be fun for anybody that had it. You'd let the infected take showers. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking, Big Green. Cold Cut says, Curtis, did you hear that YouTube is claiming people's original music because trolls are stealing and re-uploading it, and of course they don't bother to check. Yeah, I've heard of several people getting getting claimed for their own creations. Yeah, it's the whole system is entirely broken, and it's all largely because of YouTube's Google, their absolute laser-like devotion to political correctness. Because, come on, even the cop-out of, well, advertisers don't want to be attached to certain things, it's just that. It's a cop-out. First of all, the phenomenal deal you get in advertising on YouTube, the deal is fantastic. You figure you put a commercial on TV, doesn't matter how many people watch it, the show could flop, nobody's watching it, people could change channels, which they do all the time during your commercial, and you still pay for it. On YouTube, you can run ads where you don't even pay unless people remain on that ad. It's a phenomenal deal. So if in exchange, maybe, because YouTube does take precautions against content that would honestly be repugnant. So maybe you'll get one of your ads placed on a video that might make somebody a little uncomfortable. So fucking what? It's business. You're getting a great deal on that ad. If that's the risk, if that risk is enough to get you to pull that ad, you're a shitty business anyway, and you're probably not going to be around that long because you don't make good business decisions. Tommy, hey Tommy, good to see you. Tommy is good friend to our friend Tall Lewis Newcastle, who passed away a couple months ago now. He said thought it would be nice to share. During the past few weeks, we have set up a memorial bench for Lewis outside of the Newcastle United Stadium. Very cool. Painted in black and white with Tall Lewis in the middle. That's really cool. That's awesome, Tommy. That's what for those of you who don't know, that's why. Let me see if I can get my giant ass out of the way. That's why this 5-pound note is there, because when Lewis passed, I went back through and I know he had sent us something to our P.O. box, and he had just sent that 5-pound note and some change so I could see what their currency looked like. And that was several years ago he had sent it, and of course I keep it. I have a drawer for all the stuff you guys have sent us. So we put that up there as our own little memorial to Lewis. Chrome says, I want to share this because it's funny no matter what side you're on. It's okay, let me grab Chrome's Twitter link. Pro-abortion men are getting vasectomies to protest Texas's abortion law. The procedure was a total relief, almost like the COVID shot, like I'm safe now, said Gress, who works in higher education. I wanted to man up. Men will go to avoid using condoms is amazing. Wait a second. So it was a total relief, almost like the COVID shot, like I'm safe now. And I am somebody who is, again, double vaxxed. Guess what? It didn't work out so well because I'm double vaxxed and I got COVID. So feeling like I'm safe now, you better check and see how good a job was done in your vasectomy, bro. Vin is in, says, hey man, I missed last Friday, unfortunately. Just want to say, hope you and the family had a good Christmas. We did. Thank you very much. He's manning down. Yeah, Alucard. So that's the thing now. Hey, somebody wants to get snipped. That's all up to them. Have a good time. HD says, is having sex with a 500-year-old vampire lolly pedophilia or necrophilia? Yes. You're not a man anymore. You're shooting blanks now, Philip says. Darkus says, hey, Curtis, are condoms reusable? I need to know. Reusable for what? Yeah, anything can be reusable. Raging Krogan says, you might want to look up Strong Bad Japanese cartoons. Pretty much pokes fun of anime and most other stuff is true. I think you would laugh at it. Why does that sound familiar? Strong Bad. That sounds familiar, Krogan. I wonder if I've seen, hold on a second. I wonder if I've seen something about that before. I think I did see some. Yes, I did see some of those before, and that's some pretty funny stuff if I'm remembering it right. Yeah. I think I did see that quite a while ago. Barry says the Mr. Beast Squid Game video is a prime example of good advertising. Battle Brawls paid him $3.5 million for a sponsor in the video. The vid got more views than the Super Bowl and got them more publicity. Yeah, I agree, Barry. I mean, YouTube, as a business, YouTube is a phenomenal venue for advertising just because of the structure of it, the reach of it, and YouTube. And it's Google, and it's because of their desire to be the most politically correct company on the planet. doesn't factor that into their decisions. I mean, there comes a point, the whole adpocalypse was unnecessary. That idiot who wrote the article, who kept reloading the video over and over trying to get an objectionable ad on it, all YouTube had to do was say, listen, we've got programs in place to prevent that type of material from being broadcast on our platform. And they wouldn't have been lying. They did at the time, and they still do. Can one slip through here or there? Yes, it's possible. But that's part and parcel of doing advertising on YouTube. It's going to be rare. We work continuously to make it even more rare. But when you consider what you get in exchange, there can be a rare chance where that could happen, where your ad got attached to a video you may not approve of. But when you consider what a ridiculously much better bang for your buck you get advertising here as opposed to traditional media, it should be well worth it. That's all they had to fucking say. The whole thing would have died down. You'd have had a couple of the PC companies go, well, that's not good enough for me. I'm taking my advertising elsewhere. And when they got tired of getting their ass kicked by the companies, by the competition who did stay advertising with YouTube, they'd have come back quietly later. But YouTube had to make a big deal about it. No, we're going to tear everything down and start. We're so sorry this happened. Come on. The adpocalypse was completely unnecessary and a total overreaction by YouTube. Have you seen the Sonic 2022 movie trailer? No, I haven't, Kaiser. Like I said, I've never been a big Sonic fan. I mean, not to say that it won't be good, or it might be something that'll interest me, but because I was never that into it, when I see something about it, it's not something I immediately am drawn to. Evil Taco says, I saw a midget fuck a donkey in Tijuana. As somebody who used to live not far from Tijuana, across the border into New Mexico, yes, you and that's just like Tuesday down there. That's not even something that spectacular. Philip says, interesting factoid. The original condoms invented by Dr. Condom, King George's royal physician, were reusable. He made them to prevent the king from getting syphilis. I didn't know that. Why couldn't the king get Phyllis? Syphilis. Phyllis, I always thought she was kind of a slut. Chrome says, YouTube was happy with the adpocalypse thing because it meant that they could pocket more of the money for themselves. Gave them a justification for seizing more control over the site. Yeah, you could have a point there as well. Because it certainly wasn't necessary. I mean, again, to get the advertising deal and the advertising bang you get for your buck at YouTube, if the risk is occasionally one of your ads might show up on some content that's not as desirable, big fucking deal. Jesus. Excuse me. AZN says, Has-Been Hotel voice actors were changed out, which blows. I heard something about that. Can't have nice things. Dreams dead before it even begins. What do you think about that? I saw, I'm trying to remember now, AZN. One of the voice actors had made a post on, I think it was Twitter, some social media platform, just saying something about how she had a really good time and it'll always be a part of her life, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I don't know what happened there. I didn't look into it more, but I don't know why those changes were made. That is unfortunate, just because, we've seen episodes and we grew to like those characters. Chrome says, Ezra Klein was the one who caused the apocalypse. He was proud of it. He's a socialist who's trying to start a revolution. He's still trying to cause more apocalypses. Yeah, and the problem is, Chrome, is, again, YouTube played right into it. Google/YouTube played right into it. Because it wasn't that big a deal. It wasn't a big deal at all. YouTube made it a big deal. And the thing is, even if they had responded the way I had outlined, and there was an initial slight drop-off in advertising dollars, it still would have beaten the shit out of going through that whole apocalypse thing we went through while everything was being reshaped. It was just stupid. Oh, okay. It's most of the voice actors. Chrome says, yeah, we don't know if it was the Vivzy Pop or the company who bought the show, but most of the voice actors are being changed, probably for Funimation cast. They have a strong arm union on voice acting. Oh boy. See, I only knew of the one that I had seen online. I didn't know it was that many across the board. That's too bad. Jeez. That I did know. Why, I couldn't tell you, Philip. He says, yeah, they were originally made out of goat intestines, condoms, that is. Don't know how that was supposed to prevent disease. And they were washable after they were used. The contraception part was happy accident. All right, High Rise. Glad you could be in while you could. High Rise got to head off to work. Barry says, I work 6 p.m. to midnight tonight. From 6 to 10:30 is fine because the managers are there, but at 10:30 the managers leave, so I'll be on my own. Last time I was there that late, I had to chase off a drunk guy. Oh. Yeah, it's once you get into the late hours in in pretty much any place where the alcohol flows freely, the things get more complicated. Leatherface says, Curtis, do you find it bullshit that I got banned from Reddit for calling a pedophile? They liked underage fan art porn a cunt. I think it's entirely bullshit. I think it should be called way worse than that. You guys, I'm not officially allowed, and that I'll give them. That is in specifically in the terms of service, so I can't tell you exactly what I think the penalty should be for convicted pedophiles, but I'll bet you guys can imagine what I think it should be. Big Green says even the Sonic fans were happy about the new Sonic movie trailer, and they're never happy about anything. Well, that's got to be a positive indicator. Any fan base to get behind something new within the point of their fandom is extremely rare, just in general. Cold Cut says Texas is fucking cold and gloomy, at least in my neck of the woods. Really? That old fuck Santa just give me the sweet release of an orgasm instead. Yikes. All right, guys, I'm going to have to pack it up. Like I said, guys, stay tuned because very soon, if everything goes well, I'm going to try and start working on it this afternoon. Hopefully later this week, maybe even I could have it all into place. We're going to have an entirely new setup. Same room, but it won't look like it. You won't even recognize the room. And we're going to have an entirely new setup for our videos, for our live streams. It's going to give me more options too. We might start doing the live streams with where the camera is going to be pushed back further. It'll take in the whole desk and the backdrop, so I can have more people sitting in with me comfortably and everything. But there's going to be a lot of changes coming soon. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope it comes out the way that I'm hoping it will. All right, guys. Well, that was a good conversation as always. I appreciate all the feedback on everything. Hopefully we're right. Hopefully things are starting to turn at least into a semi-positive direction towards getting out of the whole COVID nightmare. But it is Monday. The sticky stuff's kind of mundane on Mondays, but this is holiday week. So a lot of people have days off in here and there, like maybe Friday for New Year's. Just came off Christmas weekend. So there's still a little bit of festivity to the sticky stuff. Most of the festivity was left back on the weekend, but there's still a little festivity hangover in the sticky stuff today. So here it comes. It's festive hangover, sticky stuff for all of you. Because Pamfu, here it comes. Sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you, sticky stuff for you. So it's kind of like some wilted tinsel in there because we'll bang, okay? Flashily like Buggy. And as always, most importantly, you bet your ass is never wilted. Goosh, 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 goosh.